Ted, as always, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the week?
You know me. I love to get way out over my skis. Love to get ahead of myself, okay? And I'm having these feelings. I is CeeDee Lamb about to be the best wide receiver in the NFL? Is that about to happen?
First thought, he has tremendous luggage. I don't know if you saw his collection of duffel bags
Yes,
that
I
he was
did.
zipping up on Hard Knocks. I have that exact same Louis Vuitton bag. It is awesome. It was a gift. I want to make that very clear, but it's a great bag. And I was like, oh, me and CeeDee are bag twins. What's up? Awesome. But he looks like he is going to be an absolute star. The only concern, right, is his quarterback shoulders jacked up. Like
Yeah.
that's a concern right now.
It's crazy. Amari Cooper's like, yeah, I want to go ahead and come back from injury real quick. I want to rush this thing, get back. I mean, he could see that CeeDee is turning into the superstar on that football team. And you just look numbers wise, and yeah, you gotta hope that Dak's shoulder is okay. CeeDee went for almost 1,000 yards last year, catching passes from an interesting group of quarterbacks.
Ben
Okay,
DiNucci.
yeah,
No offense
after
to no offense to the Nooch, as he's known by his friends.
yeah,
Fantastic.
after Dak had that really bad ankle or calf cramp that Romo pointed out to
It's a
us.
bad cramp, man.
Yeah, it was a tough year, but he almost had 1,000 yards receiving. You say what you want about Dak and winning big games and being able to get it done whenever they need to, but whenever last time he's healthy, he threw for almost 5,000 yards, number 2 in the NFL. I think our boy CD's about to go off this year. I do.
There's no doubt, bro. Like if Dak is healthy, that O line's back intact. They should be a lot better up front. You know, Zach Martin healthy. Tyron Smith, hope he stays healthy. He's so fun to watch when he is healthy. Like Dak should get great protection, dude. He doesn't look like a different human being, but
He
like
looks like he's grown 3 inches since he left Oklahoma, right?
and gained about 50 pounds.
It's
like
like, what's
he,
going on?
it's like he, and I mean this in the nicest, like he went to the NFL, became a man, bro.
That's
Like
right.
he, that grown man strength started to come in. So I'm with you, dude. Despite how boring this season of Hard Knocks is, CeeDee is like the one thing where I'm like, this is awesome. Like he's making all these ridiculous catches. It's fun to watch. But the rest of the stuff, can we get some characters? HBO, can we get some characters, Dallas Cowboys?
I
Can we have some fun, please?
I feel like Hard Knocks started like it was absolute cannot miss television. And it slowly turned into something that I don't think anyone cares about. And part of me feels like it's social media. Like when it first happened, it's like, oh my God, we get to see what it's like inside an NFL training camp. It's like I remember being in college whenever it came out, it was like I I'm so fascinated by what it's like at the next level. But now you have all that access anyways to all these guys on social media. You see a lot of this stuff. You know, like some of these stories about everyone. I wonder if that has to do with it. I don't know, but it's lost a lot of its luster.
And I do think it is it has a lot to do with the team and everything to do with the players. If the players aren't willing to what I like to call play the game with the production crew, then it's going to be a bad product. It's going to be boring. If you get guys that want to be in front of the camera, that are willing to do it, especially the star players, so like they don't care if their meeting room fines them for being on Hard Knocks. Like that's a thing, by the way. That's why you never see O linemen on Hard Knocks, because O line groups have the strictest fining system of any position group on the team. And I guarantee you there is a massive fine for anybody, especially for young players, rookies included, if they are on camera talking on Hard Knocks. I guarantee you that is in place. That's why you do it. Think about it. Don't see a lot of O-linemen on there. And I wish more guys would have fun with it. I think if more guys had fun with it, it would be a really, really good product like it was. Like you go back, the first season was the best season. It's because all the guys were like, this is awesome. I got a lot to say. I'm going to say everything to this camera. And it was amazing.
Who was it I feel like it was the Ravens was the first one that I watched. Is that who it was?
I think that's right.
Yeah. No, I was in college. It was cool because we were in training camp watching them in training camp. It was awesome. Loser, it's got to be the NFL. What? Explain the taunting thing to me, Gabe. There's definitely a line where taunting should be a penalty. But if you carry a group of tacklers 10 yards and can't get up and do some type of flex or whatever, I don't even know what we're talking about anymore.
Did you see what the co-owner of the Giants said, John Mara?
We're tired of all the talking or something like that.
John, no one is tired of it. No one is tired of it but you. Like, I want NFL players to talk an insane amount of trash to each other. Like, it makes it fun. Like, now, if you hit a guy with the double birds in his face, yeah, you're probably going to get a flag. If you like spit on a guy, first of all, you're going to fight and then you're going to get a flag. But it's like, you should be able to carry a group of guys, get up and say, y'all all my bitches. Like,
right.
That should be within the rules because it's fun. It's fun. Can we just have fun, please?
We all know it's pretty easy to see where the line is, right?
Right.
There's like a expected, if you get run over, there's an expected moment after the play to where everyone tells you about what just happened, right? That's expected. That comes with the territory. Now, there's times whenever it goes above and beyond, whenever there's like a 4 or 5 second period to where almost anything goes. And then after that, we're supposed to go to the next snap. If it lingers, if multiple people come in, we know what it looks like whenever something is too much. And what we saw the other night was not too much. That is a total standard play that should always be allowed to happen.
Yeah, it was a ridiculous call. And they cannot officiate that way because
we see this every year with some type of
emphasis,
and it always fades after like 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah,
the regular season.
Refs do not want to be, despite what some people think, refs don't want to decide games. They don't. I've talked to plenty of NFL officials over the years, and one of the first things they always say is, "Hey, we don't want people to even know we're there. Like, we just want to call the obvious stuff and go home." Like, that's how they want to go about their job. The last thing a ref wants to do, in my opinion, is with this new stupid taunting rule, affect the outcome of an NFL football game by making one of those calls. Because if they call it tight like that, it will affect the outcome of a game and people will lose their shit.
Well, here's what happens though is the guys are going to get called for it early, and just like in a basketball game or whatever, they're going to adjust to the officiating, right? But at the end of the day, it's not going to be the product, I think, that is more entertaining. Some people are old school and don't want to see anything. I'm fine with that.
I'm not. Those people are boring. Stop it.
Yeah, it's boring, but there has to be some type of limit on it. And I think it's easy. I think it's easy to tell whenever someone goes over the limit and something becomes like malicious and something that's going to possibly get the game to where it spirals out of control.
Give me all the fights, every single one of them. Let's do this. Let's get weird. No,
I say if two guys line up, ditch the helmets, and let everyone back up, circle them, NHL style.
That's why hockey's a great sport, man. Let the men settle it themselves.
That's right.
Ted, for my winner of the week, I thought about going with Mets owner Steve Cohen because he tweeted, quote, "It's hard to understand how professional hitters can be this unproductive." And he tweeted it about his own team. They've lost like 14 of 19. And I don't watch a ton of baseball, but I try to stay up on, kind of the bigger stories in the league, what's going on in the MLB. And I saw this and I was like, oh my gosh, this is hilarious because clearly owners aren't supposed to call their own players out via a tweet, but it was just funny that like the owner of the Mets is now acting like a fan of the Mets, which he was, and then he bought the team. And it's just funny. I find it hilarious. I thought it was refreshing for some reason.
Well, that is good. What was your interaction with any of the owners of the teams that you were on?
How much time do you have? I just, as you know, I have a certain affiliation with one gas station, and I played for a team for an owner that made all his money from the rival gas station.
That's right. Was he trying to squeeze you for insider tips?
So there was at one point in time a game that I was inactive. I was inactive for the game. Our center for the Browns got ejected from the game, and this all happened, and I was inactive, and I would have obviously probably could have helped out in the pickle. And my wife and my mother-in-law were in Jimmy Haslam's suite while that was all happening. True story. Fantastic story.
Well, it's like the reason I say that is there was always like this weird when the owner's around, like everyone's like, oh God, they're like he's going to start walking through there and cutting people left and right. And they're just not going to do that. But there was always kind of that weird feeling like, oh my God, the boss is in here. I just can't imagine what it would be like if that boss is then ripping the team on Twitter.
I can't imagine his players enjoyed it.
No.
But my winner of the week, Steve Kerr. Follow me on this one, Ted. You're going to like this journey. So did you see the Kevin Durant and Draymond Green interview?
I saw some snippets.
Okay. So for those of you that didn't see it, Draymond Green is doing this thing for Bleacher Report, and he interviewed Kevin Durant. And the conversation gets to Durant leaving the Warriors, the altercation that was made such a big deal publicly between Draymond and KD and kind of the role that played in him leaving. And it all evolves into a conversation where both guys are basically blaming Steve Kerr and Warriors GM Bob Myers for Durant eventually leaving the Warriors. And Draymond Green basically said that KD and him would have worked out their feud. Like only they could figure their beef out, and they would have figured it out themselves. And they both say that Steve Kerr and Bob Myers did too much and brought too much attention to the situation. And Draymond Green, he still plays for the Warriors. Kevin Durant doesn't, but Draymond Green still, like, he's saying all of this about his current head coach and his current general manager. And I think Steve Kerr is the winner of the week, Ted, because this feels like the beginning of the end for Draymond Green as a Warrior. And I'm sure Steve Kerr is incredibly grateful for Draymond Green. He was the emotional leader of those teams. They won a lot of championships. Steve Kerr has benefited from Draymond Green's skill set and leadership, but he is probably tired. I mean, I can only imagine how tired he is of having to deal with him. And I wonder if Steve Kerr saw this and went, oh, thank God, let's get this dude out of here. That's why I was like, you know what? Steve Kerr's winning this week because Draymond Green, like, it was so weird to see him just go after his current head coach.
Yeah, it is weird, but it's interesting. The NBA is an interesting league because
Yeah,
it's
but
all about.
Draymond Green is not Steph Curry.
That's true. That's definitely true. I would say it has way more to do with how Steph Curry feels about Draymond Green than it does Steve Kerr. You know, I don't know,
I see what you're saying.
if Steph Curry's sitting there saying, "Yeah, it was Steve Kerr. I agree that they would have worked it out, and Durant still would be here." Well, then it may be the end of the line for Steve Kerr, which, quite frankly, he still may be the winner of the week for that. Like not having to deal with Draymond Green anymore, even if he's the one to go. But it's so fast. Can you imagine a football player saying that about the current head coach and GM? I mean, we kind of saw that with Aaron Rodgers with the GM a little bit, but it's basketball is it's crazy. That's what happens whenever the players make like 5, 6, 7 times as much as the head coach, and the contracts are absolutely ironclad guaranteed.
It was fascinating. It was just fascinating. Okay, for my loser of the week, thought about going with Oregon's Kayvon Thibodeaux. Now, he is an awesome player, and he is making bank off name, image, and likeness deals out there for Oregon. But his latest deal, Ted, is with United Airlines. Don't do it, Kayvon Thibodeaux. Don't do it. United Airlines is the worst. And I know that they are doing special flights to Oregon's road games. I get it. But those flights will probably be delayed, or if they aren't delayed, they'll be canceled because United Airlines sucks. Run, Kayvon. Don't do it. I don't care what they're paying you.
So I haven't flown in a while. I haven't flown anywhere, traveled anywhere since Mexico in February. It seems like everything is delayed these days. Like all flights are delayed and canceled left and right, like crazy.
Yeah, it sucks. And United all the time.
Brutal.
I'm kind of a I don't know. Southwest is kind of on my shit list ever since they took that OKC to Dallas flight away. Like,
Yeah.
I'm I'm starting to enjoy Delta a little bit. I kind of like
Southwest
Delta.
is Southwest is money if it's a nonstop.
Oh yeah,
If you're
definitely.
nonstop, Southwest is the way to go. But
And you know the plane's not going to be small. I'm
you know
just
what
so
you're
mad
getting.
at them for taking away that flight to Love Field. Why'd they do that? Why did you do that, Southwest?
Yeah. I
Okay,
don't know.
but there's only one choice for loser of the week. Scott Frost. Oh boy, Scott Frost. Brett McMurphy reported that Nebraska football has been the subject of an NCAA investigation for months. And Scott Frost and the program are being investigated for improper use of analysts and consultants during practices and games. Sounds like he had an analyst running special teams in practice, which, if you don't know, that is against the rules. Analysts can't do that, can't interact with the players in practice or on game day. Now, Nebraska is also being investigated for unauthorized off-campus workouts led by their strength and conditioning staff that took place during the pandemic stoppage. Once again, not the worst thing in the world, but against the rules. But those things, Ted, okay, not ideal, but not so bad. Those are slap on the wrist offenses in my mind. But then you have the other stuff that came out on Wednesday about Scott Frost. Brett McMurphy had it. There were several other reports. Turns out, hey, Ted, you remember when Nebraska tried to back out of the game with OU and all the Nebraska fans were like losing their minds, but they were adamant that Scott Frost had nothing to do with it, that he would never do that. As a former player, as a former tough guy, as a former Husker, he knows what it's about. He would never do that. You remember that?
Yeah.
Well, Turns out Scott Frost was leading the charge along with his chief of staff to get Nebraska out of the game with OU. And I am not, I don't think I am, I don't think I'm blowing it out of proportion when I say leading the charge, because the athletic director advised Scott Frost not to pursue any scheduling options that did not include the September 18th OU game. Scott Frost ignored his athletic director, allegedly, went behind his back, and was asking all kinds of group of 5 programs to play on that date and to replace the OU game. So this is why he's my loser of the week. It's not because of the NCAA investigation. That sucks, but whatever. He'll come through that fine. But he put off, or he put out an image that he would play any team, anywhere, anytime. And then when people asked him about the OU thing, he said he wasn't in charge of scheduling. Now, after this stuff has come out publicly, his fan base, every single Nebraska fan, now knows that their program is led by a guy that was scared to play an opponent. And not only does the fan base know that, every player in that locker room now knows that their head coach did not believe in them to go play in that game. And that is an incredibly hard thing to digest if I am one of his players. That he was so scared, that he thinks we are so shitty that he didn't want to go play that game in Norman. I don't know about you, Ted, but if I was in that locker room, I would be beyond pissed. You were supposed to be our leader. Everything starts at the top in college football with the head coach. Everything. And the fact that that is the way he is thinking right now, and that's what he thinks of his team, that is bullshit. And if I was in that locker room, I would be beyond pissed at my head coach.
I'm not buying it. I'm not saying that I don't like. I think Scott Frost may have not wanted to play that game and said, gosh, is there anything that we can do to get out of it? I mean, I guess I can see that, but what's he going to do? Like schedule just another opponent and not tell anyone? He can't do that. I don't understand.
I mean, this is coming. I think if you connect some dots, it's coming from Bill Moos, the former athletic director there.
Right. But when would an athletic director ever, have you ever even heard of a head coach in the modern era of football scheduling games and not the athletic director?
I have. I have no idea how scheduling is done. I'm not going to, I always assume the athletic director does it all.
Well, yeah, because you've got to coordinate with the television partners. You can't just go schedule a game. I mean, it seems.
Do you think Scott Frost knows that? He's got to know that.
Yeah, that's why I think this is a massive hatchet job. And I think the assistants on the field with coaches, and they're talking about they have film of it, and they have film of the weight room deal.
You know what that means?
It's a setup.
No, someone snitched, and that portion of this whole thing, it has a very David Beatty-ish feel to it. It has a very Jeremy Pruitt-ish feel to it.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. I think it's a hatchet job. I think the whole thing is a hatchet job. I think you throw him under the bus on the scheduling deal to get the fan base pissed off at him.
Well, I just went off on the guy. Now you got me thinking I did it for no reason.
Well, it just
I
the whole
regret
thing doesn't
nothing,
make
Scott
sense.
Frost.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to get the fan base angry at him in order to be able to fire him with cause, save $20 million in buyout money, and have the fan base go along with it. Like, you can't just go fire the prodigal son and pay 20 million bucks, or even fire him with cause whenever the fan base is like, why you fire him over like guys lifting weights at an offsite facility? Who cares? I mean, that's not a big deal. I feel like this is like a political hatchet job here, and you have to make sure you turn the fan base on him first.
It's very similar to have you watched The White Lotus?
No, I've seen that advertised. I don't know what it is.
Well, one of the characters is a journalist, wrote a piece about one of the other characters she meets. She calls it a hatchet job, Ted. You'll know what I'm talking about when you get to episode 2 or 3 of The White Lotus.
I mean, it's like it's right out of a political playbook, right?
A lot happened at once for our man Scott Frost on Wednesday.
It was all it was all ready to pop. Like, you know, all the journalists already had the stories and they had them written. And then here comes the investigation. Oh, by the way, look what else we happen to have prepared and ready.
Yeah. Dude, I love when you get on your like conspiracy Teddy. That's is my favorite Teddy.
That's right. You gotta sift through the rubbish, Gabe.
Well, I just went at Scott Frost's head. So we'll see. Well, it's going to be really interesting to see how this all plays out. Right. I'm very interested.